Hi guys, Woody Kwan here. My good buddy Dennis Dvorak actually asked me to do a book reading, maybe do a little bit of artwork for you guys. I know we're having a tough time with the coronavirus scare out there, and so hopefully this will bring some joy and excitement to your day. So anyway, I'm going to try to do more of these for you as well. I'm going to try to give you the story behind the story of each of my books, and then I'm going to do a book reading, and then we're going to do a little bit of artwork. So anyway, all right, hope you guys enjoy it. Here we go. Now, you guys might know this book. This is the very first book that I read when I first visited your school many, many years ago, and I've come back many times before. And this one here came out in 1996, my very first book called Humpty Dumpty After the Fall. And this is actually the special 10th printing of the book. So before, the very first printing, a lot of you probably don't know this, but it was actually in a blue cover. So it looked like this, and it had a very different image in the front as well. There were a lot of differences. Not only was it blue, but the image was smaller, and it got larger, the design was different, and it didn't have a book jacket, a dust jacket as well. This one does have a dust jacket. This one here, actually, I have a very interesting story, because when this one came out, it was a $15 book. And I remember it was in 1996, and I did a run of like 2,000 copies. And when the book started selling, I started running out of books really quickly. So I immediately had to go into a second printing of the red cover. It wasn't this exact cover, but it was the red cover book. And so I was starting to run out of my first runs. And I love these books so much because it was my very first book. So I decided, you know what? I wanted to sign every single book from the first printing, just like this. And I wrote number 1 out of 2,000, number 2 out of 2,000, number 3 out of 2,000. So I numbered every single one. This one here is number 904, 904 out of 2,000. And so I decided to give my number 1 to my mother, and then number 2, number 3, number 4, some of the lower numbers to special people in my life. And then I actually tried to keep some as well and not sell all of them because they were so valuable to me. So I remember I wanted everyone to read this book. I love this book so much. It was my first book. It was like my baby. So I decided I want to do everything I could to get people to know this book. So I lived in the Clear Lake area of Houston, and I started knocking on doors. I started going door by door and telling people, hey, I was like 20, let's see, 2 years after graduating college, 1996. So I was about 24 years old when this book came out, and I asked them if they wanted to pre-order a book. So I had a lot of pre-orders, and so they were ready to go. After a while, I started doing trade shows, arts and crafts shows, did book signings, I started visiting schools. Pretty soon, I was running out of books. So I only had like a few boxes left. So I was like, you know what? I don't really want to sell these books. So instead, I went ahead and changed the price, and I put, instead of $15, I made it $20. People still bought the book. After a little while, I was like, you know what? I really don't want to sell these. I'm running out, so let's go from 20 to 25. People kept buying the books. After that, I started changed it, and I changed it from $25 to $30 each. No, 35. Sorry. And they kept buying the books at $35. I was like, what is going on? How can I get people to not buy this book? And so anyway, I changed it. I said, you know what? $50. No one's going to buy this book at $50. And guess what? People kept buying the book at $50. And so I was like, this is amazing. Like, how is it that this is, like, people are going to pay $50 for this book that's retails for $15. And after a while, I said, you know what? I'm almost out of books. I'm just not going to sell them anymore. So I just stopped selling them altogether. Not even at $50 or anything else. I just stopped selling the book. So one thing I realized from that, though, a very important lesson I learned was that because I valued this book so much, that I put a higher value on the book, and everybody else around me saw the true value of this first printing book because there's only going to be one first printing in a blue cover, all signed and autographed, and they're becoming rare because I was running out of them. So people were able to pay higher prices for it. That's why when people collect comic books, I used to collect comic books or stamps or baseball cards or whatever they collect, if it becomes rare, sometimes people are willing to pay more. So like for example, a while back, Tickle Me Elmo dolls, they were scarce back when I was a kid, and so they started becoming more popular, and people were like paying more to try to get some of these things. The Popeye chicken sandwich ran out, and people wanted it, the Popeye chicken sandwich, so badly. And so the lesson I learned was if you put value in something, then and it's true value, then that value will come through to others. So when I go out there, I try my hardest to put value in myself. And so when I go out there, I try to become a very rare talent. Someone who can draw, someone who can write, someone who can perform and act and be silly and funny and just be personable and make people happy, make kids laugh. So I want to be that rare like unicorn that does it all. And that way, when I visit the schools, the kids, the principal, the teachers, they know that they're getting something of value. So I encourage all of you kids, I want you to also do the same thing. Value yourself. Make yourself worth that large amount. You are worth that $1 million. You are so valuable because you can do so much. Once you put that value and you truly believe it, then you can exude that value onto other people. So anyway, all right, now onto the book.